So not too long ago, I was trying to figure out how to get the windshield washer fluid nozzles to work, and the pump up front works. I just got to hook up the nozzles and get another nozzle on the passenger side of the hood, and then I'll have windshield washer sprayers. But the rear one, I could always hear the pump running, and I could never figure out why it wasn't spraying because I'd filled up the reservoir. I figured just one reservoir went to both sides. Not true. Apparently in the RX7, you've got a little bladder, which was just hanging, by the way, just like hanging back here underneath all the carpet. You got a little bladder in there, and the pump is right there. And so I took a little bit of tap water because I was at the grocery store parking lot, and I had like some bottled water with me. So I threw a little water in there, and it sprayed out of the nozzle that I installed. And so I'm gonna put some of this Rain-X in here and just make sure that everything's spraying well. But after I hooked up the hose and did everything, it was good. So let's see how this works. I've never seen a car with like a little bladder in it like this. This is cool. And then, I don't know, I might go to the auto parts store and try to find some like generic nozzles. Be very careful not to spill this inside the car. That's probably why they stopped doing it like this. And then it comes with a little top like this, and everything's still intact. Like nothing's broken off or cracked or anything. It's all here. Okay. And then it's got little hangers here that just hang on to the bodywork inside the car, and so it just sits there. This is so weird. I've never seen anything like this before. Yeah, just hangs here and here. So get you hanging right here. Like there's two little clips inside where this thing hangs up, and yeah, sure enough, I'm gonna have to look at a wiring diagram and figure out what this blue red and blue orange wire goes to as it comes to the back of the car, because it's just not connected to anything, and I'm wondering if maybe that's why some of the reverse lights don't work, because they're not getting power or something. I'm gonna read up on that. The reverse lights are on the inside, which go right here. Does this even have a bulb in it? It does, but they look old as shit. They're probably burnt out. Let me see. Let's see if the bulbs are broken. No, that's an intact bulb. So that just means we're not getting power to the bulb. I'll have to test that at some point. Anyway, let's put that back in there. Put the lid on you before you spill everywhere and cause a giant mess, and test it. There's definitely something coming out of it. It's not very strong, but it's happening. I'm not sure if that was just some of the water that's still inside the lines from earlier today, or if it just maybe it's taking, the pump's taking time to push everything through the lines and up to the top of the nozzle. Maybe it's pinched. I'll see. Well, the line doesn't look like it's kinked or anything. Let's try it again. not Yellowstone National Park's geyser, but it's another part of the car that works that didn't work before. I'll take it. Found some tubing just in my shed. I'm gonna see if I can make that like the windshield washer fluid tubing, and I'm just gonna use my hand tool set and a Sharpie to take off the windshield wiper. Love working outside in the rain. I need a garage. The 14mm nut, and it was barely on there. I mean, like, barely on there. I got that little, you know, grate thing off of right here. It turns out it's literally just held on with that one nut, so no worries there. And I marked it so that I can put it back on exactly how it went. This hose just was sitting in there along with a little bit of a nest made out of pine straw, so that goes there. And then this is the hose that's still connected. I'm assuming that it goes to a like a T-fitting that feeds both those nozzles, so I'm gonna see if I can't make something. So all this tubing right here is super old and brittle and plastic, and I was just trying to test the nozzle up there to see if it works by hooking up this guy to it, and it just kept crumbling as I tried to put it on. So what I'm gonna do is remove this hose, put a new hose on it, try to keep as much of the washer fluid in there as I can, and then just kind of rig up a new fitting to go to the nozzle. I'm also gonna run to the parts store here real quick and see if I can buy a second nozzle, because as you can see, there's one and none. So I'm gonna see if maybe there's something that'll fit right there. Something maybe similar to this, to that. Time to get into the daily. I am speed. I went to O'Reilly's and I got myself this universal washer nozzle kit. It looks like it should have everything I'm gonna need in order to kind of rig up some washer nozzles for this guy. Obviously, I'm not gonna be able to find, you know, OEM Mazda parts, but this should do just fine. Really not going to be too hard. It just looks like it's going to take like 15 minutes or so to rig up the hose and everything. Anyway, let's get to it. So I put those universal nozzles in and they work, and everything's working just fine. I replumbed everything down to the reservoir here, and the pump works, the hose works, the nozzles work, except they spray like right here in a very flat pattern. So like nothing gets up onto the windshield. It all just sprays right here. And that might work a little bit, but I'd really like it to hit, you know, closer to the bottom third of the windshield or middle of the windshield, just so it gets an even spray. Now, I've only got one OEM nozzle, and it looks like the OEM nozzles are tilted up a bit more in order to do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna replace the driver's side nozzle again with the OEM nozzle, plumb that in, and then see if its spray pattern is better. I'll keep the universal one on the passenger side, but you know, the passenger doesn't really need to see all too well, so I'm not that worried about it. I just want it to where it's not spraying a bunch in here, and that'll be good enough for now. So it's slightly better. This one sprays in like a fine, you know, pressured mist, kind of flat up against like right here, kind of at this point, whereas that one just gives like a two forked stream to about this point right here. So it's slightly higher. It'll work for now. So I'm just gonna put this back together. I'm gonna go get some wood for my fireplace. All right, everything's back together. We got mismatched nozzles, but they're working nozzles, and that's better than what they were.